And now, from 12 Studios, this is News 12 Now.
Welcome to News 12 Now for this Wednesday, October 30th. I'm Annette Campbell. An update to the heartbreaking news out of Paris that we shared this morning. A 2-year-old has died from an accidental shooting. According to Paris Police Chief Richard Salter Jr., they were called out to the 300 block of Stone Avenue right before 6 o'clock Tuesday evening. When officers arrived, they discovered the unresponsive child with a gunshot wound to the head. A 16-year-old boy was at the residence. Preliminary investigation indicates the toddler shot herself with a family member's handgun. Paris EMS transported the girl to Paris Regional Health, where she was pronounced dead. No arrests have been made. Deputies in Grayson County were able to help resolve a high-risk situation early yesterday morning. It happened just before 6 in Gordonville. Family reported a loved one in crisis was armed and had fired a shot inside his home. Deputies heard more shots when they got there. Working with negotiators and a trained special response team from the sheriff's office, deputies were able to safely de-escalate the situation. The man left the home unarmed and was taken into protective custody. Yesterday, 6 dump trucks worth of marijuana was seized from a warehouse just off Highway 70 in Meade. The Bryan County Sheriff's Office worked with several agencies, including the DEA, to take down this operation. Under Sheriff Joey Tucker says the illegal operations pose a lot of problems because of the lack of oversight, especially when it comes to the marijuana itself.
There is no regulations on illegal marijuana grows. They're not going to go take their marijuana and have it checked out like the other legal marijuana grows are doing. That's why these people have to go. We can't have this in our county.
The marijuana was loaded into the dump trucks and will be photographed, weighed, and taken to a destruction site.
So far, our Wednesday has looked a lot like our Tuesday, with temperatures in the 70s for really most of the day. We're trying to warm up. We have really thick cloud cover out there, and that's an indication that moisture is increasing. But some of us nearing 80, the rest of us are in the 70s, and that wind has not gone anywhere either. It's been blowing for the last couple of days pretty good. Sustained at about 10 to 20 miles an hour, in some spots 25, gusts even higher to 35 to 45 miles an hour. So next system, it's trying to move in, and our dew points continue to climb, which this is excellent news because the higher that these can go, the more moisture those clouds are going to essentially wring out of them, and we get more rain. So we need it here, and we're going to be seeing that as we go forward. Temperatures, running above average here, and that is not expected to change anytime soon. So we're going to be expecting that system to kind of roll in as we go forward here. But all in all, there's a live look outside right now. You can see that we have some clouds, and we do have that severe weather threat on the way for later tonight. Primarily, Halloween's looking pretty good too, and then we're going to be seeing a really wet weekend eventually. So we're going to time everything out in the full forecast coming up here in just a minute. Until then, back to you, Annette.
The judge in the Trump assassination attempt case will not remove herself despite the accusations of bias towards Trump. Judge Eileen Cannon dismissed the criminal case against Trump over his handling of classified documents, and now she is over the case against Trump's alleged assassin. Attorneys for Ryan Ruth, who prosecutors attempted to shoot the former president on a golf course in Florida, argued that Cannon's dismissal of the criminal case Trump could create the appearance of partiality in their client's case, where Trump is the alleged victim. In her ruling Tuesday, Judge Eileen Cannon said she has never spoken with the former president or met him, even though he nominated her to the federal bench. Ruth's attorneys noted that many instances when Trump has praised Cannon by name for her decision to toss the documents case, including during his acceptance speech at the Republican National Convention this summer. Special counsel Jack Smith is currently appealing Cannon's dismissal of the documents case. Ruth's trial is currently set for February. The Supreme Court has rejected Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s effort to be removed from the ballots in Wisconsin and Michigan. The Supreme Court handed down Tuesday's decision without further explanation. Kennedy argued that keeping his name on the ballots in the 2 key battleground states violated his First Amendment by implying that he was still a candidate. Now, he suspended his independent presidential campaign back in August and endorsed former President Donald Trump. But state election officials had argued that early and absentee voting in the 2 states was already underway. Justice Neil Gorsuch dissented in the Michigan case. When Kennedy dropped out of the race, he pledged to remove his name from the ballots in battleground states where he could draw votes away from Trump. Tuesday's decision also comes weeks after the high court rejected Kennedy's attempt to be added to the ballot in New York. With less than a week to go until Election Day, Vice President Harris's campaign is dealing with fallout from a comment President Biden made as former President Donald Trump tries to pivot away from an insulting joke a comedian made at his rally on Sunday. Jared Hill reports from Cleveland, Ohio, where voters are weighing in on a tight Senate race.
On her way to North Carolina Wednesday, Vice President Kamala Harris faced questions over something President Biden said.
Let me be clear, I strongly disagree with any criticism of people based on who they vote for.
Her campaign is taking heat for Biden's reaction to an insulting comment made by a comedian at former President Donald Trump's Sunday rally, who called Puerto Rico an island of garbage.
The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
Later, Biden clarified on social media, saying he wasn't talking about all Trump supporters, just referencing the comedian's rhetoric as garbage. Still, Trump quickly seized on the comment.
Remember Hillary, she said deplorable? Garbage, I think, is worse, right?
Harris is trying to keep focus on the message of her closing argument speech delivered last night in the same spot Trump addressed supporters on January 6th.
Unlike Donald Trump, I don't believe people who disagree with me are the enemy.
Speaking in Allentown, Pennsylvania Tuesday, which has a large Puerto Rican community, Trump tried to court Latino voters.
I will deliver the best future for Puerto Ricans and for Hispanic Americans.
One state over from Pennsylvania, increasingly red Ohio isn't a presidential battleground, and Democratic Senator Sherrod Brown is in a tight race for re-election.
I'd like to see Congress or Senate stay in the Democratic hands.
Was there any thought about wanting to keep a certain balance of power in the Senate as you were making that decision as well, or no?
No, I think you have to see it as a whole.
Democrats face a number of tight races that leave them with slim hopes of holding on to their 51-49 Senate majority. Jared Hill, CBS News, Cleveland, Ohio.
Now to the Middle East, where Israel says it's looking into the circumstances of an airstrike in Gaza that Hamas says left 93 people dead or missing, including dozens of children. The U.S. has called yesterday's attack, quote, horrifying. Holly Williams has more from Tel Aviv and a warning. This report contains graphic footage.
An Israeli strike shattered this multi-story building. And according to Gaza's Hamas-run health ministry, many of those killed were women and children. More small bodies, shrouded, piled up and carried away on a cart. Death is commonplace in Gaza, but that doesn't blunt the pain. Tens of displaced people were living in the house, said this man. As you can see, body parts are hanging on the walls. The US says it's deeply concerned and has asked Israel for an explanation.
This was a horrifying incident with a horrifying result. I can't speak to the total death toll, but there are reports of 24 children killed in this incident. It is another reminder of why we need to see an end to this war.
Israel says its ongoing offensive in northern Gaza is targeting militants who've regrouped there. The result, according to the United Nations, is, quote, harrowing levels of death and destruction.
Israel's parliament voted on Monday to bar the United Nations agency that helps Palestinians from operating in this country. Israel alleges that the agency has been infiltrated by Hamas in Gaza. And earlier this year, the UN dismissed several staff members accused of taking part in the October 7th attacks. But the US says that it is deeply troubled by the Israeli legislation. Holly Williams, CBS News, Tel Aviv, Israel.
Thank you for watching today's News 12 Now. Make sure to subscribe so you find out why Texoma turns to us. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where you'll see more social media exclusive content. Want more News 12 Now? Watch us live every weekday through the KXII app on your phone or TV and through our website.